Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast, brought to you by our friends over at Briar Greaves Insurance. Protecting your assets starts with a company that you can count on. So whether it's auto, homeowners, flood, boaters, or business insurance, there's nobody better in the business to work with than the great people at Briar Greaves. For more information about them, visit their website, briargreavesinsurance.com, or give them a call at 813-876-4166. That's 813-876-4166. We are having a live emergency podcast because Bucs star and starting running back Bucky Irving has returned to practice today for Tampa Bay. It was a walkthrough, but Bucky was there with his teammates, taking handoffs, running a little bit, and just being out at practice for the first time in over a month. This is huge news for Tampa Bay that we're going to break down. We're live from the Advent Hill Training Center. I'm Matt Matera. That's the face that runs the place at Pewter Report. SR, Scott Reynolds. Scott, we don't know just yet if Bucky's going to play on Sunday against Buffalo, but clearly this is a step in the right direction and a big help for this Bucs offense.
It certainly is. And we talked about this a little bit on our post-game podcast. We saw Bucky Irving running around out there in the field.
Yep.
And he was even running through the tunnel after the game. The foot injury is not the problem. Todd Bowles confirmed that on Monday. It's the shoulder. And even Bowles today said that we're going to have to see if Bucky can take a hit on that shoulder before he's cleared to play. He also wants to see how he does in practice. I asked Todd, are you guys going to have a padded practice this week? He said no full pad. So they'll do something. They'll put some shoulder pads on and probably whack him, with a pad or something, and just to test that shoulder. Might be a pain tolerance thing. What they don't want to do, of course, is have Bucky Irving come back too soon and then have that shoulder injury flare up again. But, Matt, when you're looking at a Bucs team that does not want to lose back-to-back games and going up against the Buffalo Bills run defense that has been highly suspect, allowing an average of 147.5 yards per game on the ground, it seems like this might be exactly what the Bucs offense needs, some Bucky Irving in that running game to help Tampa Bay have a better chance of beating Josh Allen and the Bills on Sunday.
It would be the perfect time for Bucky to make his return against a team that the Bucs can take advantage of running the football, even with some of the injuries they've had on the offensive line. By the way, Ben Bredeson was out there today as well. He had a sleeve on his leg. We won't really know till the end of the week whether or not he is available. But Todd Bowles was very, kind of mum is the word in terms of I don't know, I got to see him get hit. We got to see him practice tomorrow, if he does practice tomorrow, before they can kind of make more of a decision. So the jury's not out just yet on whether or not Bucky Irving is going to practice in this game. But Baker Mayfield was in much higher spirits about Bucky Irving being out there at practice, just kind of sensing his energy a little bit more. And we'd love to see that dynamic duo back once again, because Baker even spoke about how his message came across to everybody else on this team and that they had their best walkthrough of the season. And the Bucs have had a lot of walkthroughs this year, but seeing everyone dialed in, locked in, getting someone like Bucky back just brings even that much more of a boost to this team, because Sean Tucker has been good running the football. Rachaad White is very helpful in certain ways, but this offense is at its best when they are feeding Bucky Irving, when he's making big plays, whether it's in the passing game or more specifically as a runner. He brings the explosivity for this team that they need consistently. So we'll see if Bucky returns on Sunday.
Yeah, and Bucky Irving's a player that had 8 runs of 20 yards or more, and that's something this Bucs offense has lacked this year. They have not had a run of 20 yards or more from a running back. Baker Mayfield had one earlier in this year. I want to say it was the Jets game, 33-yard run. That's the longest run, and you don't want your quarterback having that distinction unless you're the Ravens and it's Lamar Jackson, for example. But that's been the missing element in this run game is not having those explosive runs that Bucky Irving was able to have, the 30-yard run, the 50-yard run, etc. Sean Tucker came close. He has the longest run of any Bucs running back that happened last week, 18 yards. And we'll see if Sean Tucker still gets more involvement. I'd love to see him get more involved in this game. This will be kind of a homecoming game for him. He played at Syracuse.
That's right.
And this game's in upstate New York and Buffalo. So we'll see. But certainly having another running back of the caliber of Bucky Irving back, if that is the case on Sunday, would certainly be a big boost to the team. and not just as a running back, because Bucky Irving, if we're being honest, has been a little pedestrian as a running back this year, only 3.3 yards per carry. And that's something that Todd Bowles said, well, hey, we don't have a healthy starting 5 up front, really haven't had that all year. That's probably part of the reason why we have seen some struggles in the running game is up front. So will having Bucky back change that automatically? He didn't really indicate that'd be the case. But what we have seen from Bucky Irving this year is dynamic ability catching the ball. He's got 2 receiving touchdowns, one against the Falcons and then one which was a 72-yarder against the Eagles. So just having him back in the huddle with the energy and the ability to be that running or receiving threat would help this Bucs offense.
You know, it's always a question with any rookie who has a dynamic, fantastic rookie year, the way that Bucky Irving did. It's, you know, how do they elevate their game after that? How do they bring their game to the next level? The answer for Bucky Irving was his help in the passing game. You just mentioned the 2 touchdowns he had. That really started back in the preseason when he caught that touchdown pass from Teddy Bridgewater against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that way, Bucky has become an all-purpose back. And he was great in the passing game last year, but it was a lot of just swing passes, screens, and stuff like that.
He's become a bona fide weapon.
Exactly. He's running routes, the big catch and run against the Eagles that you mentioned. That's how he's getting it done and helping this team. And even if he brings up the running game a little bit more than he has done this season, I mean, that'll only do wonders for this team that, you know, maybe has put a lot on the shoulders of Baker Mayfield, and understandably so. But if they can complement him with that running game just a little bit more, that we've seen in bits and pieces, but not as consistently as we did last season, it's only going to bring great things for this offense. It's a game. I'm not going to call it a must-win, of course, because the Bucs are still winning the division by at least 2 games. But it's a game the Bucs really need to have so you can get rid of that doubt that you may have about them against good teams. And, of course, with the Rams looming on the horizon as well, there's really not a better time for Bucky Irving to return. So hopefully he can, but we'll see.
And the one thing, too, is, you know, Todd Bowles said on Monday, he's like, we're not a great team. You know, and the mark of a great team is you don't lose back-to-back games, regardless of whether they're on the road or not. You have the Bills coming off of a loss at Miami to a lowly 3-7 Dolphins team, 30-13, wasn't even close. And Josh Allen and the Bills have not lost back-to-back games since 2018, which was Allen's rookie season. So if Todd Bowles and the Bucs and Baker Mayfield, if they want to become a great team, this would be a sign. You go up there to Buffalo, you get a high-quality win like you did in Week 5 against the Seattle Seahawks when you came back from a home defeat at the hands of the Eagles in Week 4. Let's see if they can do that. Having Bucky Irving back only helps matters. The other part, too, to this equation is Josh Williams, the running back. You did the story, Matt, last night on pewterreport.com. Suspended for 6 weeks, 6 games with a PED suspension. That's performance-enhancing drug usage. Todd Bowles today said an innocent mistake probably for Josh, who's not a bad guy by any means, you know, kind of owned up to it. But it does thin out those numbers at the running back position. He did say Owen Wright will be elevated from the practice squad and either elevated on game day or just will take that roster spot because Josh Williams will be inactive for those next 6 games. So they'll either choose to elevate Owen Wright from the practice squad and maintain that practice squad status, or just simply sign him to the roster. But what this does do is that it does open up a roster spot. They won't need one because Bucky Irving has not been on injured reserve, so they won't need one for Bucky. But it will give them a chance to look at their practice squad, or maybe even go out and make a move and get someone else off of another team's practice squad. So they will have that open roster spot right now with Josh Williams' suspension.
Yeah, the next game that Josh Williams will be eligible for is when they go to Miami to take on the Dolphins in the second-to-last game of the season in Week 17. And Owen Wright had a solid preseason with the Bucs. He was there for the 49ers game where the Bucs won, and I'm just chuckling because he got in on 1 snap. And it was victory formation, taking a knee at the end. So if you're going to get in for any snap, might as well be the last snap of the game that signifies a win for this team. By the way, before we get to the super chat, if you want to see some of the video of Bucky Irving, I'll put in quotations, running today and taking handoff snaps, check out Pewter Report social media. It's on our Instagram, Facebook, everything all over social media. So you can check that out.
Yep.
If he's practicing tomorrow, we'll have more footage of that.
Yep.
Probably be a little bit more in-depth with them, like outside and doing a little bit more. But if you want to watch Bucky taking some handoffs from Baker Mayfield, check out all of our social media at Pewter Report. Let's get to the super chat from DSG Carlos. Thank you for the $1.99. We really appreciate it. Says, win or loss, the streams always make my day better.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the kind words, Carlos. We really appreciate that. We're not done with shows. We did this emergency podcast. We like doing positive news emergency podcast. Occasionally it'll be negative ones, but this is a good one with Bucky Irving returning. And we're also going to preview all of the Bucs and all of the Bills and their matchup taking place on Sunday. We'll do that later this afternoon at 4:00 p.m. Right on Pewter Report TV. There's the logo for it. So we're not done with shows today. We have another one coming up in about 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah, we like doing these podcasts, as Matt says. Sometimes we're the bearer of bad news if a star player goes in injured reserve. We've also had some good news, some contract extensions. We've had some returning stars to practice, and hopefully we'll do one of these when Chris Godwin gets back in the practice field. No new news from Todd Bowles today. I tried to press him a little bit. I'm like, well, is it just pain radiating up the fibula? He's like, I just
I'm not
don't
a doctor.
know. Yeah, so. But yeah, please make sure that you tune in at 4:00 on Pewter Report TV for our next podcast, which will be a regularly scheduled Bucs at Bills podcast. And we're looking forward to chatting with you guys in just a few hours. But wanted to get the good news out there. We had a chance to talk to Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield today. They're both excited to have Bucky Irving back. One thing we probably should caution fans about, too, is Luke Haggard did make a return last week to practice, the right guard who injured his shoulder against the 49ers. And he did practice all week, but he was a healthy scratch on Sunday. They just didn't feel like that shoulder was quite ready for contact yet. So we just don't know if Bucky Irving is going to actually get on the field on Sunday and play, or if he's not going to be a full participant in any of these practices, or even if he is a full participant. Stay tuned to our Pewter pregame show on Sunday at 9 a.m. here on Pewter Report TV. We'll have the latest about whether Bucky Irving will play or not. Again, just keep that in mind. Luke Haggard was a full participant in practice, and he still wasn't quite ready for that contact yet. So let's hope that's not the case with Bucky Irving. We see him dressed on Sunday. And more importantly, let's hope when Bucky gets back, he stays back, because he is an impactful back for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Yeah, that's just as important as how will they distribute his number of snaps when he is able to return. Hopefully it's against Buffalo, but if it's the following week against the Rams or even later than that, preserving him for the whole season will be very important, because he wasn't just dealing with one injury. He was dealing with 2 injuries this year. Yep, for sure. As Rolf says, I heard Scott during the press conference asking good questions. Well, good. I appreciate that. That's our job. Matt and I were here to ask the good questions and hopefully elicit some good responses. But sometimes Todd Bowles just doesn't know. So we don't know exactly what Bucky's situation will be on Sunday, but you follow Pewter Reports on X, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report and pewterreport.com. You're going to find out. Yeah, so please make sure you like and subscribe. Follow us on all of our social media, as Scott was just mentioning, on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We're at Pewter Report. And our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. So please like and subscribe. Leave a comment on this video, how you're feeling about Bucky Irving returning back to practice this afternoon. We'll have more info as that rolls along, both today, tomorrow, and the rest of the week up until the Bucs-Bills game. And just one more reminder, we do have Bucs-Bills preview coming up at 4:00 today on our YouTube channel, the Pewter Report podcast on Pewter Report TV. So that's going to do it for this emergency podcast. For Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks to everyone for watching. And we'll see you later this afternoon for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.